Welcome to Get Moving TV. I'm Dr. Chris Landon. I serve as your host. Ventura County, we have such extraordinary people, resources, weather, we've got it all. One of the things that we have here is a lot of creativity. We're sitting outside of Hollywood, but Hollywood really sits inside Ventura County. There's a lot of filmmakers here, composers here, people who are making film festivals, music festivals. We have it all. So today, I'm going to introduce Katie Garibaldi, who I have the great pleasure of meeting through Some of All Music. Katie, welcome to Get Moving TV. Thank you for coming. So what we wanted to talk about today is just to get an idea about a career in film composing, which is, and then how you got there and how every day you wake up in the morning and go, well, yeah, let's get going, or I can't get to sleep till it's done. So how did you get into music, which has to be one of your loves?
Yeah, well, I started out just totally in love with music as a kid, and I knew from a very young age that's what I wanted to do. I was writing songs when I was very young and started playing guitar when I was about 11 years old. And I was just so in love with it. I knew, like, this is my thing. This is what I want to do. Always writing songs, started performing in high school. And then I went to college in San Francisco Bay Area for communication and ended up touring while, doing little mini tours on the weekends and stuff. But I really felt strongly that I wanted to go to school to I knew it was going to be hard to be an independent artist, and I wanted to learn the skills of how to make my own marketing plans and how to build my own website. In those days, you had to do the HTML code and stuff. And so I wanted to learn those skills and public speaking and things that would help me do strong in my career as an independent artist, because I knew from a young age it was a business. It wasn't just I'm just gonna go play music and see what happens. I saw it as a business as well. And so I fell in love with both sides, the industry as well as the creativity side. And I did many years touring and recording albums and making music videos, and started getting more into the film side of things through my music videos, going to film festivals and meeting all different types of creative people, and fell in love with the film side of things as well. So I, from there, got more into filmmaking and music supervision, which is what I'm doing with Some of All Music. Helping translate what the filmmaker wants to the composers, and helping find the music that goes with the emotions they want to convey. So it all kind of is a mishmash of creativity on all sides of the spectrum, and I'm just so grateful I get to immerse myself in all of it.
Well, that's an incredible description. I think what you've done since Joe, who's our next guest, introduced me to Some of All Music, and I get down Wednesdays, 9:30 to 11. I get to hang out with incredible people, all with whom are probably around 30 miles of me, except for you living in the Bay Area. We will drag you down yet. And who are not film composers. What are some of the things that in the Some of All Music, what are some other things that the people are doing? So you've got Tony Shibumi, who's bass player in a rock band. You've got people running composing for orchestras. People were on. So can you tell me a little bit about some of the people who belong?
Yeah, they're, like you said, just great people. It's a great community. Joe was telling me about them when I first met him, and then I knew right away when I met the group, this is a special group of people. They're just so open to collaborating and just open to sharing and helping each other. And like you said, it's just a variety of musicians, and people of all levels have had huge touring careers or scoring for film and different things, and all ages and all countries, because we're Zooming, so it's international. But yeah, it's just great to see the spirit of people who really value creativity and value that in each other, and see them come together and creating music together. It's really beautiful.
So here you are on the prow of this giant ship, and trying to get all these wild and crazy, diverse people who aren't even in the same country and assign them something. We've worked on Christmas album and summer album. Is there a movie project that's come up where you've managed to get everyone in line?
Yeah, we're working on a documentary film right now. The filmmaker Aya Youssef, she's based in Egypt, and so we're scoring her documentary. It's a feature film, and what's really cool and just really fun is that there's, I don't know, I'm blanking on the amount, but maybe 19 or 20 composers collaborating on just the one film. So usually there's one, maybe two. And so I'm music supervising, so I get the pleasure of just like working with everyone and communicating that. We've had like several one-on-one meetings, as you know, and breaking up the scenes, and just it's been so fun to see like, okay, what does the filmmaker want? What does Aya want for this scene? And seeing like the composers that we have and their strengths and what they can bring to it, and pairing them up together to see what they come up with. So it's been this big experiment, and I've just been amazed at seeing it all come together and how it's like very cohesive throughout.
It is incredible. I mean, now, since I was actually Foley and had a little rain gourd there, so I can make a little movie. Oh, I'm a performing artist now.
You are.
Again, how they all managed to come together, but it was through your communication. So you would look at it and you go, what were you gave Tony and myself some instructions. I don't know if you have any recollection, but what did you tell us about the scene, which is?
The biggest thing that I try to convey is the emotion, and that's, so Joe and I had met with Aya beforehand to see like, what are the emotions you want someone to feel during this scene, and that's the best way to get across what is the music that's needed. So for your scene, your and Tony's scene, was them playing around on the beach, and she was just like, I want this to be playful. It's a very heavy documentary, the story, and so her main thing was, I want this to be, the music to be uplifting and hopeful. I don't want it to be such a downer. And so your scene in particular was really fun because it was a very playful scene and conveyed hope and optimism.
The movie itself is the journey of these two women who when you break up with your wife in Egypt, you throw acid in her face, I mean, basically. So how watching her put on her eye was mortician's wax and so forth, but the way the movie began, where she's looking in this store window at everything women do to glamorize themselves, and she's 22 years old, and this is her life, and so she really did a great job of documenting all that. And so when I listen to Matt Damon, sliding garage doors, like I don't realize how much music there is. Every single step you take, there's something. It's not a lot of just the sounds of feet moving. So for you to be able to get that emotion across, but how do you use that as musical tools? I mean, those 19 people who have very diverse, oh yes, I have to go conduct an orchestra, I'll be back. And then there's me, oh yeah, I have a guitar within 6 feet of me so I can reach and play once in a while. So bringing all that, but how do you get emotion across in music? So minor chords, blues, progressions, or how do you?
I think it's just focusing on what you want the audience to feel, and the thing that's been really interesting is, like you said, there is like orchestra performers and then singer-songwriters, and when you pair those up, it's like anything can happen, but what we all understand is human emotion, so you guys are great at just channeling that through music, and music is a universal language, and I was very adamant, like, I want this to appeal to a universal audience. I don't want it just to be, local people. I want to get this out to film festivals worldwide, and I want people to relate to it from anywhere. And the subject matter is like, we don't think about those things here. Acid attacks, like, that's not a reality for us here. But we can understand the emotion behind that, what they're going through in their journey, and the music helps translate that.
Yeah, and what was interesting, Tony goes, okay, where it's a movie about Egypt, and we're both looking up scales, and he studied Ravi Shankar's sitar for 4 hours so he could get it just right, and then you brought it to her, and she said, no, I don't want it to have this Middle Eastern thing. So he goes, okay, fine, I'll just hit the substitute whatever instrument and Logic or whatever it is that you guys use. So her choices were interesting too, how she wanted to get things across.
Yeah.
But the continuity, you're exact, among 19 different people,
Yeah.
it ended up really sounding very cohesive and very much a movie soundtrack. It wasn't just different styles and so forth. So thank you for all the work that you did in that. Now, we're going to talk to Joe next, but you guys have some other projects that you've been launching into, the 48-hour challenges there. I know you have one coming up that if I can help out, we sure will. What was the last one you did where?
We did the 48-hour film project here in LA, and I directed and Joe composed for that, and a bunch of other stuff. He acted in it as well, and it's very multi-talented. So yeah, we're have some things in the queue that we are excited about involving some of our music composers in, and just really immersing ourselves in anything creative.
Well, what was what was the film challenge? They gave you certain elements that you had to have in the movie.
We had to make a film in 48 hours from script to screen. So they gave us, it was like a Friday night kickoff. They give you the genre. We had no clue what the genre was, and then we had to include certain things like a character, a specific line, a specific prop, and we had to write that into the script. So it's like stay up all night writing and then film it all the next day, and then the post-production, editing, and music and all that stuff. So it's really cool because it pushes you to just go for it. It's like usually there's more parameters. You overthink things when you have more time. Yeah. But when you have to make quick decisions, it's like, okay, let's just do it, Yeah. And so it brings those creative parts out of you that you may not have discovered.
And beating the talent into submission, it's always interesting when, not that people are interesting when they have talent or lack thereof sometimes. Well, anyway, so on a brighter note, Kate, thank you so much.
Oh,
we really hope to have you a little closer to us soon, and we look forward to the projects. And we look forward to Aya's movie coming out too.
Yes, for sure.
We'll four-wall it here at our local downtown theater.
Awesome.
It'll be a wonderful thing.
Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you. Now, Ventura, you have Vase here. You can learn all about filmography and editing and so forth. And you can see the passion and love that it brings out. So Ventura, we'll be right back. Ventura, welcome back. We had a great first half there with Katie. Joe Metcalfe is returning to the stage here at Get Moving TV. But we're going to talk about something a little different this time, which is Ventura, this teeny tiny little town. It's international in implication, the people here and the impact that the people who come here have. So the film that Katie was talking about comes from what organization?
So I'm very much in the film industry. I write music for films and television. I'm getting into the film production side of things as well. And for the last several years, I've been attending a lot of the film markets. So in Berlin this year, it was all virtual, and I went to the European film market there, and I met this great organization called IFTA, which is the International Emerging Film Talent Association. They're based in Monaco, and they go into countries which are underrepresented in the film world, where maybe a lot of their people don't have the opportunity. I mean, yes, here we are in Ventura. Hollywood's right on the doorstep. There's a lot of access to film in the film industry. All the major studios are here. But you know, if you go to Sudan or you go to Egypt or you go to Ethiopia, where are you going to find the opportunity to get into the film world? And there's a lot of people that have great stories to tell. So I discovered this group. I discovered IEFTA at the Berlinale Film Festival, and saw that they were going in and trying to find opportunities for young filmmakers or new filmmakers to really get the experience, get exposure to the world of filmmaking. And when I realized what they were doing, I saw what resources we had in terms of the music side of things, and I immediately reached out to them and said, look, we want to help, we want in, because what they're doing is giving a voice to people that don't have a voice, and I'm a big believer in that. So we said, look, what we'll do first of all is we'll open up our music library, that they can have access to it, their filmmakers can, for the movies that they're doing under that umbrella. And during that time, IEFTA were also getting very involved with the United Nations, and they became one of the official filmmakers for United Nations productions that were, for example, one of the great topics right now is the migration of people in countries where there's civil war and going across, let's say, from Sudan into Europe and the migration there. So they can't go in and tell people what to do, but through the medium of film, you can go and educate people and say, look, it's not just utopia on the other side, there's other things going to happen. Let's make you aware of the options. And that's what IEFTA were doing. Some of their alumni who were coming through the programs that they were running were now going independent on their movies, and that's how we got put in touch with several of the filmmakers, and the first of which was Aya Youssef. And she just brought our documentary, or her documentary, to us, which has become really impactful. I mean, you're jumping into the lives of two women who are, look, let's face it, it's not an everyday thing. Egypt, you know, you're not going to go to Egypt and suddenly find your face being burned off by acid, but it does happen. And this is not to paint a country, or the picture of a country that's being bleak. It's there to say that whereas here, if somebody has an incident, there's plastic surgery, there's situation, healthcare that will come in and take over. Over there, it's a completely different story. And these two beautiful women have to go and fight just to get their faces reconstructed again. In particular, this one, they actually had to leave Egypt and go to Dubai to meet with surgeons who could just try and reconstruct the face again. And the amazing thing is that you look at the attacks that were done on them, and the attacks were done to silence their voices. You know, to take it away from being able to say, look, we're going to take away any sense of normalcy in your life. And actually what Aya's done, she's actually put her life on the line by making this movie, and but in doing so, she's given a voice that the whole world is going to hear.
Well, that's emotive storytelling, you know, and we do it to sell more toothpaste or to educate people on how to do something. So the emotions that have to come out in the score and match her vision. She's been sitting with her iPhone and hiding cameras and taken so much time to put all those things together in a way that makes sense in a chronologic fashion. So how do you approach that as a film scoring person?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a huge amount of listening that has to go on when we're talking with her. You know, Katie and I, we've met with her several times and just talked about I mean, look, a lot of people, when it comes to filmmaking, are very frightened of music, because they can talk the language of lighting, they can pull dollies, they can, you know, do grip work, they can set scenes, they can be the cinematographer if they need to, or the DP, but when it comes to music, it's actually a different language. And so we have to speak emotion. And like Katie was saying a little earlier on, we all understand what it feels like to feel. And so when I was talking with us, and she came and spoke with the whole group as well, and they were asking, well, what kind of music, what styles do you like here? And she said, I can't speak styles, I can speak emotion though. And I think it's really tapping into that. One of the big things that she said is, this is a very heavy story, and I don't want it to just be dreary. I don't want it to be something that repels, to really focus in on these ladies, to say that they're not just faces that are distorted now. They're people inside. They're just you and they're me. And it just so happened this thing happened to them, but they're still the same person on the inside. And so when it's light, let's make it light. Let's make it a movie about hope. Let's make it a movie about saying, here's a really big struggle ahead of us. And here we are, we sit in our luxury homes, our new cars, everything that we have. And these people just fighting to find love, to be accepted, to find a job, anything. And you know, and we take for granted so much of what we do have. So talk about that emotion, recognize that these are the struggles other people go through, try to put yourself into their shoes, and then feel the way they felt. And that's where you start writing music then at that point.
Yeah, and she was able to, I mean, they didn't necessarily get along with each other. They were, you know, not best friends, but they are best friends forever. They've been through a similar experience. So it wasn't a Disney movie about Happy Chucky the beaver coming up on shore and, oh, there's somebody. It was about human beings.
Well, and it's been 6 years in the making. I mean, you know, this was back in 2015, 2016 kind of time when Aya just said, hey, look, she was waiting, she was looking for the project, and this one just came to her. And when she found it, she's like, I can't turn away. I've got to help these beautiful girls find the money to get these surgeries, to be able to leave the country, to get into a different place. And because every penny had to be raised, and she would make small little movies about them to try and do some crowdfunding and get the public to donate money and organizations. And I mean, it's such a brave venture for them and courageous venture to go on.
So in terms of the involvement, talk a little bit about Sum of All Music and what you'd like to do with that in terms of the library, offering it to IEFTA, the United Nations, other projects. Where do you see things going?
Well, I mean, we've got some incredible talent in the group. From, you know, Benny Rietveld is Santana's musical director and bassist. You've got Raphael Gale, who was, you know, musical director and drummer for Leonard Cohen. From AHA, we've got, I mean, I could go into everybody in the group. I mean, this is just some of them. And the thing is that we've been very blessed in our lives. During the lockdown, a lot of us lost a lot of work. And so we just started this whole collaboration going together, started making music, putting it into a library that other people could access and resource. And we just decided with this, let's take it a little step further. Let's open it up, and we want to find filmmakers that have really powerful stories to tell that wouldn't otherwise be able to get this access to this level of music. And so instead of just saying, okay, look, you know, it's going to cost you X thousands of dollars to get a composer on board, and there's risk involved, is we'll say, look, we'll take it on the responsibility, and in this case, we've written the music, and then we've retained the ownership of the music, but given them a global in perpetuity license to be able to use it in the production. And then if other people want to use it, they can come and pay for a license to put it into their films as well. But this is music that really does evoke deep emotions, that is not just like a standard bit of music. This is something which is driven by something much, much deeper, much bigger than ourselves.
So in terms of next projects then for this group, what direction do you see these? Are the studios starting to open back up a little? Are they, and then in terms of supporting independent filmmakers?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, you know, things are opening back up, productions are being made, and it's, you know, it's going to take a little while for everything to get into post-production fully, and but we're open to anybody who's really making films, whether it's somebody at home on their own phone, their iPhone, just making a home movie, and they want to get some good music for it. Well, we've got a license that will cover that they could use our music to cover their productions on a really small scale. They're going to put it up on YouTube, and we've made it really affordable all the way through. If the major studios want to come and use some of the music, if they want to license songs that we've done in the group, they can do it, and it just depends on the scale of what the distribution is going to be like. So from student movies to home movies to corporate videos to small productions, and you know, and 40-hour film festivals, those kinds of things. We want people to have access at a very affordable price, so it elevates their production.
Well, it elevates me too on the Wednesdays when I get from 9:30 to 11, get to hang with some very friendly people. I've never met Benny in person. I'm going to go down this Friday and take my daughter and her boyfriend and a date. And meet Benny in person, which is, and he's just, wherever he is, he goes, oh yeah, it's, Wednesday's coming, I think I'll put together, and then he puts this jazz thing together just in his traveling hotel room. Jeff Gross, who's laid back kind of guy I've ridden motorcycles with, and oh yeah, except when I'm working for Paramount, and I'm working with this show, that show, and then he can talk all those different computer Logic Pro or whatever you guys do. It's a great group to have together.
I think one of the things that comes with that is that when you look at celebrity, when you look at people who are exceptionally talented and you perceive them as being such, the reality is they're just people. They're people that are like you, they're me, they're anybody else. But what they've managed to do, and I think that listening to Katie earlier on, is saying that she found her passion. And I think that's the really key the big key to going after something special in life. If you find your passion, if you know what it is, commit yourself to it. Because they don't just wake up one day and say, okay, I can play the bass really, really well. It's no, they put themselves in and they practice and they practice and they practice, and good enough isn't good enough. They keep going and they live and they breathe. There's young kids in there that one of them just lives with his guitar, and he'll just be sitting there in the meeting just like strumming away because it's right there. He can't not pick up the guitar. Drummers just go around hitting anything they possibly can. And I think that's the big key for somebody. I don't care what profession you're in. If you've got that passion for it, commit yourself fully into that. Go the extra mile. Learn the extra bit that somebody else isn't learning. And stretch your ability. So if you're a camera operator, find new ways to get that great shot. Play with the angles. Live with that camera at your side every single day. If you want to edit, take footage which is already there, re-edit something. It's up to you. You've got to take it into your own hands and say, this is what I want to do. This is my passion, and nothing is going to stop me. And that makes you the Benny Rietvils, the Jeff Carruthers, the people that are #1 in the charts. That's the key right there. And I'd say every level, whether you're a student, just getting into it, whether you're a retiree, go for your passion.
Ventura, go for your passion. Sum of All Music is one, but watch those movies and support your local artists. Time to get moving.